hero.
So, a mysterious stranger on a magical search in Merlin at 8:15 tonight. Now on BBC One, how's your team doing? It's time for Final Score.
Relegation. He was one of the heroes of the afternoon. Applause from the away supporters. Go! The latest score is Wimbledon go through to the first half. John Terry's tears, we all remember. It was 2 crucial weeks.
Hello, welcome to Final Score. All the goals as they go in around the country for you over the next half hour or so. You won't miss a thing in the company of Garth, Crooks and Martin Keown.
Sunderland.
Plenty of Premier League stories developing around the ground. The early game was at the other games that are going on at the moment. Only 3 other 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon. West Brom 2-1 up at Aston Villa. Jonas Olsson and Paul Scharner have got the goals, but there is a big talking point in Villa Park, and that is the red card that was shown to Aston Villa's Chris Hurd, which is baffling to say the least. Not a great deal to talk about at the Reebok, although if it stays goalless, Bolton will collect their first home point of the season. And it's goalless as well at St James's Park, where unbeaten Newcastle have found second bottom Wigan tough to break down. So no doubt where the story is this afternoon, and it is at Villa Park. There's an awful lot for Ivan Gaskell to tell us about.
Yes, it really has been quite a Midlands derby. Terrific game filled with goals, near misses and a controversial red card too that you've alluded to. Villa in front midway through the first half. Foster felling Agbon Lahore. Defensive indecision costing West Brom dear. Bent made them pay with a punishing strike from the spot. Then the game's undoubted turning point and a hot topic for half-time discussion too. Villa's Chris Hurd dismissed inexplicably for some time. Play had moved on from 20-30 seconds or so from an incident in which he had tangled with Jonas Olsson. The referee's assistants had waved his flag. Nobody saw that. Nobody either really saw the incident, even with constant replays we've seen since. But he was dismissed, Villa down to 10 men, and though Chris Brunt lashed the penalty well wide, Olsson really rubbed it in as he turned in a goal from a corner just before the break. That was popular. Second half, early on, West Brom on top, making their superior numbers count, and Olsson helping to lead to some indecision in the Villa Park defence again. Scharner cashed in. It's 2-1 West Brom. It's quite a game.
As you can see, Burnley have equalised at Coventry. Walsall have equalised at Tranmere. Andy Butler with that goal. When a referee misjudges a tackle or gives a red card in that situation, a la Martin Atkinson, he gets a lot of criticism, but you can understand it. It's impossible to understand what Phil Dowd has given the red card for in that situation.
Well, I mean, initially we thought it was for a foul on the edge of the box, but it looks as if it's going back to
a previous incident.
Just before that. Now, we've looked at it closely. We can't see that the player's actually stamped on him. The linesman's flagging for some time, and clearly he's trusted the linesman, but it's a bad call because, for me, it's certainly not a penalty. It's certainly not a sending off, and it's pretty well ruined the game from an Aston Villa point of view.
And it will increase. You know, Alex McLeish, despite Villa's start, which has been OK, is under a little bit of pressure at Villa Park, and this isn't going to help.
More than a little bit of pressure, and it's certainly not going to help Alex McLeish. Alex McLeish took a whacking the week before at Manchester City. OK, City top of the table, you expect that. But this game, Villa fans and McLeish would have expected them to probably win at home. It's been a very bad day for Aston Villa, but it's been compounded by the decision. OK, you might have to push Phil Dowd, give the penalty, but there's no way I can see why you gave the sending off. It might have been for Hurd, may have been alleged to have, or may have been seen to seem to have trampled on Olsson, but if he did, it was accidental at the very best.
But normally you'd see the referee consulting with the linesman in great debate. There was none of that. Now I know they have the earpieces, and he just trusted his linesman, and really, it's such a poor decision. It's embarrassing, really.
West Brom went on and missed that penalty. They need to sort out their penalties. They missed 6 of their last 10 in the Premier League, and Chris Brunt has missed 3 of his last 5, so maybe he'll be off penalty duty from now on. Cardiff have only won 1 of the last 6 in the Championship. They are going to win this afternoon, though. I'm fairly safe in saying that. They lead Keith Hill's Barnsley by 5 goals to 1. Aaron Gunnarsson with the 5th at Cardiff City Stadium. Let's go to St James's Park, where unbeaten Newcastle are struggling to break down Wigan. Steve Sutton.
Yes, they're proving a tough nut to crack, are the second bottom side in the Premiership. And they had the best chance in the first half as well. Victor Moses with a close-range shot early on, brilliantly saved by Tim Krul. Ali Al-Habsi in the Wigan goal, matching his heroics on 2 occasions. First from a Leon Best downward header, and then in the second half, Demba Ba, again with a close-range header, well saved on the line by Al-Habsi. It's a game that's there for the taking, whichever side can work it out. It's 0-0.
Is the game there for the taking at the Reebok Stadium? Damien Johnson.
We just had the best moment of the game. Connor Wickham hit the bar for Sunderland with a cross shot, but I suppose the appeal of the Premier League is the contrast between the teams. You've got the international jet set of City and United, and then teams like Bolton and Sunderland here scrapping for some points and some form. It's been a poor spectacle here, chances at a minimum. Sunderland better in the second half, Connor Wickham going close, as I said. And Sessegnon tested Jääskeläinen, Vaughan with a deflected effort wide. It's not a classic, 0-0.
Luke Varney's second of the afternoon means Portsmouth are 3-1 up on Doncaster. Torquay have got one back at Roots Hall against Southend. Southend 4, Torquay 1. Southend in second in League 2. There was one early game in the Championship. It came at London Road. Peterborough thought they'd got a point against Leeds when Mark Little equalised with just a couple of minutes to go, but Darren O'Day in the 5th minute of injury time got the winner for Simon Grayson's men. So it finished Peterborough 2, Leeds United 3. Let's go to the Cardiff City Stadium, where Jason Mohammed can tell us about Cardiff's 5th against Barnsley.
6 goals, free kicks hitting the woodwork mark, cracking saves, a bizarre injury, 2 loud penalty shouts, and a goalkeeper lashing out on a striker. This mid-table match has given us everything. Kenny Miller's classy finish got it all started on 10 minutes before going off with blood gushing from a head wound. Joe Mason made it 2-0. Danny Drinkwater 2 minutes later got Barnsley back in it. Aaron Gunnarsson then scored the first of his 2 goals. Don Cowie made it 4. And Gunnarsson, the outstanding player on this Cardiff City side today, has got his second, Cardiff City's 5th. Great work from Andrew Taylor on the Cardiff City left. Pulled the ball back. Gunnarsson was there to poke it past Luke Steele. Cardiff City 5, Barnsley 1. If it stays like this, that's their biggest win of the season.
Forest have gone 2-1 up at Blackpool through Majewski. We will get the details of that goal in just a second. But Mason Bennett is 15 years old and 99 days, and he is playing for Derby County this afternoon at Middlesbrough, the second youngest player to play in the Football League. But his side, Paul Anderson, aren't making it a day to remember.
Afraid not, Mark. From a Derby point of view, it looks like he's going to be on the losing side. In fact, just as you were handing to me there, Mason Bennett was replaced. He lasted 78 minutes in this match, and he's shown just a few glimmers of what he's obviously capable of and what Nigel Clough sees in him. He had a header on 8 minutes that just went wide of the Middlesbrough goal, and then a shot which was brilliantly saved by Jason Steele in the second half. Well, 2 goals either side of the break have given Middlesbrough that 2-goal cushion here. Rhys Williams got the first one, a shot after Justin Hoyt's long-distance effort beyond Frank Fielding, and then a mistake from Mark O'Brien at the back from Derby, and a Hoyt cross was headed in brilliantly by Marvin Emnes. So Borough keeping up the pressure on Southampton at the top. They lead Derby by 2-0.
Now, we said the game at the Reebok was there for the taking. One side might have just taken it. Damien Johnson.
This lead for Steve Bruce, who's been under pressure, and for Sunderland, a goal from Stéphane Sessegnon. The ball played in from the left-hand side, a corner from Larson. It pinballed around the area, broke to Sessegnon, shot on the turn, low past Jääskeläinen, and Sunderland lead.
And this is a Sunderland side with Steve Bruce under pressure. They win this game, as everything stands, they go 12th.
They do, and it puts all the pressure again on Owen Coyle and Bolton, doesn't it? You know, disastrous start to the season, looking like they're going to lose this one now. But all credit, really, to Sunderland. I thought much better team in the second half, and they deserve their lead at the moment.
It's a shame because Bolton did so well last week, and they're now playing a group of games that they're expected to get something out of. So this would be a disappointment for Coyle, as Martin said.
And if Sunderland have scored, have Newcastle. There's been a goal at St James's Park. Steve Sutton.
Yes, they have. It's Newcastle 1, Wigan 0. I said the game was there for the taking if one of the sides could work it out. And the man who's worked it out is Johan Kabay. He took the ball just inside the box and a beautifully steered shot into the top corner of the Wigan net. Newcastle 1, Wigan 0.
Good goal.
We're just seeing it now. It's a great finish from distance. But really, I mean, now with Newcastle, we're looking at a top 4 side here for real.
Yeah.
This is 19 points now. I mean, amazing start to the season. That really is a talking point.
I still have to say, I still think the fixtures have been kind to Newcastle. I can't take anything away from the fact that you can only play.
You can only play what's in front of you, can't you?
They've got it was a tough game today. Wigan played really, really well, and they've had a go. And I can't help thinking they're just a touch sad for them. But fair dues, they broke the deadlock. It looks like they're going to get 3 very valuable points.
Newcastle have been knocking at the door in this game.
Yeah, they have, and a Halsey goal for Wigan has been magnificent. But I think that's a fair result on the day if that stays the same.
Tranmere have taken the lead against Walsall. Tranmere 2, Walsall 1, 10 minutes together. Mustafa Tiryaki has given Les Paris' side the lead once again. Into the Championship, where, speaking of managers under pressure, this has been a very uncomfortable afternoon for Sven. Andrew Jones.
Yes, Mark, I might be over-egging my part here, but I reckon this is one of the biggest surprises of the day, isn't it? Leicester City are going well. 3 wins out of 4 against a Millwall side who haven't won in 10. Leicester City 0, Millwall 3, and a hat-trick for Darius Henderson. They were 2-0 up at half-time. Henderson converting a penalty, then tapping in at the far post right at the end of the first half. Leicester made changes at half-time, taking off Beckford and replacing him with Vassell. Peltier hit the post, but it was Millwall who went forward and scored a third, a corner, and Henderson, unmarked, unbelievably giving his goal-scoring feats today, tapping in the header. Millwall had scored 9 goals before today, Mark, in the Championship. They've scored 3 more here today. It's Leicester 0, Millwall 3.
Speaking of replacements, what a decision it has been to replace Steve McLaren with Steve Cottrell, Richard Aston.
Yes, absolutely. Forest looking good for their first back-to-back wins of the season, chappers, although Guy Moussi has just been sent off for a second yellow card. His first for celebrating the goal that put Forest back in front. A real cracker from Radomir Jeski on the half volley from the Polish international, giving Matt Gilks no chance. That was just when Blackpool was starting to force the issue as well. Tom Ince, son of Paul, a bit more pace than his dad as well, had hit the post after an excellent Maisie run. We had a couple of goals in the first half as well, a pretty turgid first half otherwise. Wes Morgan giving Forest the lead initially with a thumping header, and then Kevin Phillips with a sweet strike equalising for Blackpool. But with 7 minutes to go, Forest down to 10 men. We'll see how they cope.
Dagenham and Redbridge have got 1 back at Victoria Road against Aldershot. Dagenham and Redbridge 2, Aldershot 4. Dagenham and Redbridge 100th home league game. Oldham now lead Wycombe by 2 goals to 0. Dean Furman, the midfielder, 10 minutes from time. For Paul Dickoff's side, we've heard about Steve Cottrell's current side, Nottingham Forest. What about his old team, Portsmouth? Andy Barwell.
Well, they're leading 3-1 here. It was a very finely balanced game at one stage. Luke Varney gave Portsmouth a flying start, getting onto a long clearance from his keeper. Doncaster took a little time to settle, but their equaliser was quality. A crisp, long-range strike from Simon Gillett. But Pompey re-established their advantage for caretaker bosses Whittingham and Gray. The pressure had been growing. David Norris with a header, and it was Dave Kitson who made sure the ball crossed the line. A little messy, not that Portsmouth would be too concerned with that. And it looks game over. Luke Varney got his second, clipping in Hoosclipp's cross. It's Portsmouth 3, Doncaster 1.
Exeter 3, Rochdale 1. Jake Taylor 9 minutes from time. They were a goal down at St James's Park, but as it stands, Exeter will be off the bottom of League One this evening and be replaced by their West Country rivals Yeovil. Swindon have taken the lead at Plymouth, so Plymouth will stay rooted to the bottom of League Two. Rafael De Vita, 8 minutes from time for Paolo Di Canio's men. To Portman Road in the Championship next, where Crystal Palace were a goal up on Ipswich last time we were with Robin Bailey.
They still are, and they're good value for that. And, well, this is their best start to a season in 6 years, and they're really consolidating that with a fine performance. They're not sitting back, which is nice to see. And the likes of Scammell on the left and Zahar on the right, they've got real threat. The goal from Paddy McCarthy, their inspirational captain, has split the sides. Ipswich haven't been bad at all, but they have missed Sonko at the back, and their replacement, Delaney, has gone off injured as well. So they have been hampered by that, but they've got 3 up front at the moment, and they're going for it. It's still Ipswich 0, Palace 1.
Guy Moussi is off for Forest. Another goal has gone in at the Cardiff City Stadium. Is it a sixth for Cardiff? Jason Mohammed.
It's not fair play to Barnsley. They've kept at it. Jacob Butterfield's corner headed in from Jim McNulty, 5-2.
Next, we're going to go to the KC Stadium, a game that before kick-off you wouldn't have expected many goals in, but there have been a few. Naz Premji.
Certainly have. Hull City 2, Watford 2. The visitors twice ahead. Hull have pegged them back on 2 occasions. Then the latest goal coming from Aaron McLean, the second equaliser for the home side. Moments after that strike, Mark Yates surged forward, dillied and dallied, danced his way past defenders and hit a 25-yard effort that was thundered onto the crossbar. There's a bit of a flashpoint here. Anybody could win this with 7 still to go on the watch. Hull City 2, Watford 2.
Coventry and Burnley are 2 sides in the Championship in the bottom 6. Has it felt like a game between 2 sides struggling? Steve Lee.
It has a bit, but it's Coventry 1, Burnley 1. We had a sterile first half. It's all been happening in the second at the Ricoh. A diving header from Cody McDonald gave Coventry the lead. Back came Burnley, Ross Wallace equalising. Then, on his 18th birthday, a red card for the Coventry youngster Gal Bigiramana for a 2-footed lunge on Trippier. The ref, Graham Scott, with little option. Coventry holding on now in the closing stages. It's 1-1.
There was an early game in the SPL. It finished Motherwell 0, Kilmarnock 0, so Motherwell stay second, 6 points behind Rangers. And in the battle between the bottom 2 in the SPL, there's been a late goal for Dunfermline. Ian Turner.
Yeah, there's 3.5 minutes left here. Just a minute and a half ago, Dunfermline got the equaliser that, in your correspondence view, they certainly deserve. It came from the penalty spot from Liam Buchanan, the substitute. Jim McIntyre's made 3 changes in the second half. That's made a difference. Inverness took the lead in the first half with a fine goal from Gregory Taddy. It was very much against the run of play. The second half's been much more even, and Liam Buchanan, as I say, has got Dunfermline there just desserts. 3 minutes to go. Inverness 1, Dunfermline 1.
Means that Inverness would stay bottom, and Hibs are climbing away from the bottom this afternoon. Brian McLaughlin.
Well, they appear to be at the moment. There's 90 seconds left for play at St Mirren 2, Hibernian 3. Griffiths opening the scoring for Hibernian. Then a double for McGowan. Had Saints in front before O'Hanlon, and Griffiths again put Hibs back in front. All 5 goals coming just before the half-time interval. Saints bombarding the Hibs goal in the second half. Hasselbank fired wide with a goal gaping, and Goodwin hit the post after great work by McGowan. Just over a minute left for play here at St Mirren, where the scoreline is St Mirren 2, Hibernian 3.
In League One, Sheffield United have only won 2 of their last 7, but what a big goal that could be. Chris Porter, the former Derby striker, 6 minutes from time at Leyton Orient, who are on a bit of a recovery in that division themselves. Leyton Orient 0, Sheffield United 1. In League 2, Morecambe, the only side with an unbeaten away record in that division, are now 3-0 up at Vale Park. Lawrence Wilson from the spot with that goal. The leaders in League 1 having a great afternoon, aren't they? Jackie Oatley.
Oh, they are. It's all going their way. 4 goals, a red card for Carlisle's Matt Robson, and a Carlisle penalty which was saved. Jan Kernigan's got 2 of the goals after good work from left-back Royce Wiggins. He's been excellent. Wright Phillips with the second, and after Robson's red card for a second yellow, Holland's shot squirmed under the Carlisle keeper Colin. To make matters worse for Carlisle, there was a penalty through James Berrett. Charlton 4, Carlisle 0.
Gillingham are down to 9 now that Lewis Montrose has been sent off, but they still lead Oxford by a 1-0 in League 2. And Dundee, bottom of Division 1 in Scotland, look like they're going to get all 3 points at Somerset Park against Stephen Milne with that goal on 87. At the Gal Farm this afternoon, Alan Biggs has been enjoying another Jordan Rhodes scoring masterclass.
Absolutely. Huddersfield 3, Preston 1, as you say, Mark, all about one man, and the figures are extraordinary. Let's start with hat-tricks in successive games. Jordan Rhodes, we speak of, obviously, 17 goals in club and country football this season, now on a streak of 13 in 5 games. Quite incredible. Rhodes' first here was gifted by Preston keeper Turner, but goals 2 and 3 were classics, a header and a shot. Sumo has replied for Preston. Don't think it's going to make any difference. It's the Jordan Rhodes story.
We're going to go back to the Reebok Stadium where even Sunderland were a goal up last time with Damian Johnson. They're not anymore, are they?
It's 2-0. We're in injury time and Sunderland are on their way to victory. It's a goal from Nicholas Bentner, the on-loan Arsenal striker. Lightning break from Sunderland. Men over. Sessegnon found Bentner and he finished neatly past Jaskalainen. It's Bolton 0, Sunderland 2.
It was a lovely, lovely goal. Garth and Martin giving all sorts of advice to Sessegnon as he was running through. Fortunately, he ignored their advice and did the right thing. Cardiff City next, where there's been another goal for Jason Mohammed.
Goal fest here at the Cardiff City Stadium. Ricardo Vazte, the Barnsley substitute, has just lashed in past David Marshall. 5-3. Cardiff City threw away 3 points on Tuesday night. Are they going to do it again, Mark?
No. You went, pass it now, and he didn't. He held it, and then he released it.
I wanted him to make that pass, though, Mark.
Right. And then when Bentner got it, Garth went, smash it, and he didn't. He just placed it.
I admit it.
To Meadow Lane next, where it's been a very feisty afternoon on the touchline. Notts County against Brentford. Mark Bishop.
Certainly has, Mark. Notts County 1, Brentford 1. We're approaching the full time at the moment, just about to go into stoppage times, but an ill-tempered affair will be remembered for two things. First, the childish, petulant obstruction of Alan Sheehan as he tried to take a quick throw on by the Brentford manager, Uwe Rosler, stood in the way and got himself sent to the dugout. That happened in the 30th minute. And then 11 seconds from the start of the second half, Clayton Donaldson out on the left, cut in, and an absolute beauty from 30 yards, top right-hand corner. Watch it on the Football League show tonight. 1-1.
Hereford are out of the bottom two this evening. They've beaten Barnet by a goal to nil. On the side that they've beaten, Laurie Sanchez's side, are, as it stands, going to replace them in the bottom two. At the top of that division, it's been a thriller between AFC Wimbledon and Crawley, and it's been enjoyed by Mark Webber.
Indeed, AFC Wimbledon 2, Crawley Town 5. Not even the cauldron that is Kings Meadow can slow this juggernaut. AFC Wimbledon showing the defensive prowess of great uncle Bulgaria in this League 2 grudge match. AFC managed to pull a goal back to draw 2-2 half-time. We're in this half. Danny Bullman scoring 2 headers this half to make the difference seemingly unassailable in my view. Crawley manager Steve Evans sitting to the right of me, in front of me, grinned like a Cheshire cat. It was the hottest ticket in southwest London today. It's easy to see why. AFC Wimbledon 2, Crawley Town 5.
There's been a late goal at the Ricoh Arena where it was Coventry 1, Burnley 1. Who's won it? Steve Lee.
Well, it's Burnley, it's Coventry 1, Burnley 2. We've had 6 minutes of injury time added on, and Charlie Austin, the sub, who's missed a whole host of chances for Burnley this afternoon, has got on the end of a scramble in the box to make it 2-1 to Eddie Howe's side.
Fourth goal for Morecambe. They've definitely won against Mickey Adams' side, haven't they? Port Vale 0. McLeish's post-match interview will be very, very interesting. Sunderland left it late at Bolton, but they got all 3 points. Damien Johnson.
Yes, Stefan Sessegnon's first goal of the season and Nicholas Bentner's late effort gave Sunderland only their second win of the season to ease some of the pressure building on manager Steve Bruce. It was a poor spectacle with chances at a premium, but Sunderland roared on by a big away following, were patient and slowly grew into the game. Connor Wickham hit the bar with a cross shot as the visitors began to take control. Bolton failed to clear Seb Larsson's corner. The ball eventually fell to Sessegnon, who finished smartly on the turn. Bentner added a lovely second in injury time on the breakaway. Relief for Steve Bruce. Pressure back on Bolton boss Owen Coyle. 5 straight home defeats now.
Steve Cottrell is making this management lark look particularly easy. 2 games in charge of Nottingham Forest. 2 wins today at Blackpool. Watched by Richard Aston.
Yes, Chapman, a scrappy match that suited Forest much better than Blackpool, and with their first back-to-back wins of the season, new manager Steve Cottrell has started to possibly eke out a bit extra from his side. Wes Morgan gave them the lead with a powerful header cancelled out by a typical strike from Kevin Phillips just before the break. And after Tommins had hit the post 3 in Holloway's side, Forest won it with a terrific goal. Polish international Radomir Jewski on the half volley from just inside the area. So far, so good for Mr. Cottrell.
And so far, so good for Newcastle. Another 3 points for Alan Pardew's men, but they also left it late. Steve Sutton.
Yes, they did, but a win that epitomises all that Newcastle are about this season, spirit and togetherness. If not for the heroics in the Wigan goal by Ali Al-Habsi, it could have been much more. He produced great saves from Leon Best, from Barr and from Ben Arthur, but what he couldn't keep out was a guided missile from Johan Cabaye 10 minutes from the end. He took a little pass from fellow countryman Sylvain Marveaux on the edge of the box, beautifully guided into the top corner of the net. Newcastle remain unbeaten. It's 6 defeats in a row for Wigan. Newcastle 1, Wigan 0.
The big battle at the top of the Championship this afternoon was Middlesbrough against Derby County, and the home side came out on top. Paul Addison.
Did indeed, Mark. Borough win 2-0 thanks to a goal by Rhys Williams just before half-time and one from Marvin Emnes, his 9th of the season, 5 minutes into the second half. Mason Bennett made his Derby debut. In doing so, becomes their youngest ever player at just 15 years and 99 days. And he, along with many of his teammates, had chances to score for Derby, but they found Jason Steele in fantastic form in the Middlesbrough goal. Borough 2, Derby 0.
We've got news of a late goal here on Final Score in the Championship at the KC Stadium, where it was Hull City 2, Watford 2. Who's got the fifth of the afternoon? Naz Premji.
Hull City 3, Watford 2 in injury time. Deep into that injury time period, Robert Corran has thundered a shot from just outside the area into the bottom left corner mark to give Hull a 4th straight win here at the KC. It's broken Watford hearts. The Tigers are roaring, as you can hear. Hull City 3, Watford 2.
And that will send Watford into the relegation zone in the Championship this evening. Let's go into League 2. Crawley winning at AFC Wimbledon. Southend keeping up the pressure, though, aren't they? Tony Lockwood.
Torquay swept aside by a hugely impressive second half showing from Paul Sturrock's side. 8 unbeaten now in all competitions. Kane Ferdinand back in the side, responding with an opener, adding a second with a left foot volley. Liam Dinkinson sprinting forward to steer the ball into the bottom corner. 3-0. Mark Phillips with a 4th. Lee Mansell with a consolation effort. And Martin Ling, the United manager, back at the club where he played for 5 years, enduring a miserable afternoon. Southend 4, Torquay 1.
And from the top of League 2 to the top of League 1, where Charlton have thumped Carlisle this afternoon. Jackie Oatley.
Yes, they've beaten them by 4-0, and they're back on track after that rare blip. Their first defeat of the season last weekend at Stevenage. But 2 goals from Jan Kermagund, 1 from Bradley Wright Phillips, and then 1 early in the second half from Danny Hollins finished Carlisle right off. They had a player sent off, Matt Robson, right at the end of the first half. And then they had a gift, James Berrett with a penalty, but that was saved by Hamer in the second half. Charlton 4, Carlisle 0.
Let's go back to the Championship and find out the details of Crystal Palace's win at Ipswich. Robin Bailey.
Yes, a goal from captain Paddy McCarthy settled it. The likes of Glenn Murray, Sean Scammell and Kigashu Digachoy might have got the goals earlier. Wilfred Zaha was excellent, especially in the first half. Palace were good value for this. 3rd place in the table, the best start in 6 years, and they've got 3 more points away than they had all last season. Ipswich are under par. They missed Sonko at the back. Delaney, his replacement, got injured, and stupidly Aaron Cresswell got himself sent off for dissent right at the end. Palace under Dougie Freedman are flying.
Certainly are. What a good job Dougie Freeman is doing. Could the same be said about Sven at Leicester, though? Andrew James.
Well, Nancy Delollier might be on the spot later on in Strictly, but it's Sven who's under pressure at the moment now. Leicester 0, Millwall 3. Leicester had won 3 out of the last 4. Millwall hadn't won in 10. They were 2-0 up at half-time, Millwall. 2 goals for Henderson, and he completed his hat-trick in the second half. Leicester 0, Millwall 3.
And next we'll go to Fratton Park on Final Score. Portsmouth beating Doncaster this afternoon. Andy Barwell.
Yes, 3-1 and a 4th home win of the campaign for Portsmouth. A 2nd win out of 3 games under caretaker bosses Guy Whittingham and Stuart Gray. Little between these sides until Dave Kitson's scruffy goal got back the advantage for Pompey midway through the second half. And 7 minutes later, it was game over. Luke Varney clipped home his 2nd goal of the match. 9 wins for Portsmouth in 13 competitive games against Doncaster. Final score, Portsmouth 3, Doncaster Rovers 1.
Sheffield United couldn't hang on to that lead at Leyton Orient, could they? Kevin Lisby, right on the 90th minute, means that he's probably rescued a point for Russell Slade's men. Exactly 5 o'clock, so time for the classified football results now on BBC One with Tim Gudgin.
And in the Barclays Premier League, Aston Villa 1, West Bromwich Albion 2, Bolton Wanderers 0, Sunderland 2. Liverpool and Norwich City kick off at 5:30. Newcastle United 1, Wigan Athletic 0, and Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Swansea City 2. The Empire Championship, Blackpool 1, Nottingham Forest 2, Cardiff City 5, Barnsley 3, Coventry City 1, Burnley 2. Hull City 3, Watford 2. Ipswich Town 0, Crystal Palace 1. Leicester City 0, Millwall 3. Middlesbrough 2, Derby County 0. Peterborough United 2, Leeds United 3. Portsmouth 3, Doncaster Rovers 1. Reading and Southampton kick off at 5:20. In League One, AFC Bournemouth 1, Bury 2. Charlton Athletic 4, Carlisle United 0. Chesterfield 2, Hartlepool United 3. Exeter City 3, Rochdale 1. Huddersfield Town 3, Preston North End 1. Leyton Orient 1, Sheffield United 1. Milton Keynes Dons 0, Scunthorpe United 0. Notts County 1, Brentford 1. Oldham Athletic 2, Wycombe Wanderers 0. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Colchester United 0. Stevenage 0, Yeovil Town 0. And Tranmere Rovers 2, Walsall 1. In League 2, AFC Wimbledon 2, Crawley Town 5. Bradford City 2, Northampton Town 1. Burton Albion 2, Bristol Rovers 1. Crewe Alexandra 0, Macclesfield Town 1. Dagenham and Redbridge 2, Aldershot Town 5. Gillingham 1, Oxford United 0. Hereford United 1, Barnet 0. Plymouth Argyle 0, Swindon Town 1. Port Vale 0, Morecambe 4. Rotherham United 1, Shrewsbury Town 1. And Southend United 4, Torquay United 1. In the Blue Square Premier, AFC Telford United 1, Gateshead 2. Barrow 3, Kidderminster 1. Braintree Town 3, Darlington 1. Fleetwood Town 4, Bath City 1. Hayes and Yeading United 2, York City 4. Kettering Town 2, Ebbsfleet United 2. Mansfield Town 3, Alfreton Town 2. Southport 1, Tamworth 1. And the latest in Stockport County 0, Forest Green Rovers 1. I think they're playing half an hour late because of traffic problems. Wrexham 0, Newport County 0. In the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Dundee United 0, St Johnstone 0. Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1, Dunfermline 1. Motherwell 0, Kilmarnock 0. And St Mirren 2, Hibernian 3. In the Irn-Bru Scottish Division 1, Ayr United 1, Dundee 3. Livingston 1, Greenock Morton 1. Partick Thistle 2, Falkirk 2. Wraith Rovers 0, Queen of the South 2. And Ross County 1, Hamilton Academical 0. The Scottish Div 2, Albion Rovers 1, Arbroath 0. Cowdenbeath 3, Forfar Athletic 1. Dumbarton 1, Airdrie United 1. East Fife 1, Stirling Albion 0. And Stenhouse Muir 1, Brechin City 1. In the Corvette Sports Welsh Premier, Bangor City 0, Neath 1 is the latest score. Carmarthen Town 0, and Bala Town 1. Newtown 1, Aberystwyth Town 2. The New Saints 3, Port Talbot Town 2. In the Carling Premiership, Carrick 0, Ballymena United 2. Cliftonville 2, Crusaders 1. Donegal Celtic 2, Glenavon 1. Dungannon Swifts 0, Glentorrent 5. Linfield 2, Portadown 0. And Lisbon Distillery 1, Coleraine 3.
So there is one game still going on. They did kick off half an hour later at Edgeley Park because of traffic problems on the M6, and Stockport County are behind to Forest Green Rovers by 1-0. So let's take a look at the tables for you. Newcastle's win against Wigan means they're now level on points with third place Chelsea, only 3 points off top spot. Fifth place Liverpool will look to keep pace when they face Norwich in the tea time game. West Brom are into the top half thanks to back-to-back wins. Wigan drop below Blackburn to the foot of the table after suffering their 6th defeat on the bounce. Bolton stay third bottom following their loss to Sunderland. Sunderland's win takes them up to 12th. Leaders Southampton take on Reading at the Medeski very shortly. Middlesbrough leapfrog West Ham into second thanks to their win over Derby. Big movers elsewhere. Leeds go from 11th to 5th, Hull from 12th to 7th and Cardiff from 13th to 8th. Bristol City would be off the bottom if they beat Birmingham tomorrow. Watford have dropped into the bottom three after that late 3-2 defeat at Hull. Millwall out of the relegation zone after a 3-0 win at Leicester. The top six remain unchanged in League One, so Charlton still ahead of Huddersfield after they both won. Sheffield Wednesday did as well. Hartlepool and Tranmere jumped from 10th and 11th respectively up to 7th and 8th. Exeter are off the bottom after their win over Rochdale. They're replaced by Yeovil. Bournemouth have dropped into the bottom four after Bury beat them 2-1. Leyton Orient out of the drop zone after getting that late point against Sheffield United. Crawley's thumping win against AFC Wimbledon sees them stay top ahead of Southend, who beat Torquay. Morecambe move up to 4th after beating Port Vale. Oxford's first defeat in 8 against Gillingham sees them drop to 7th. Hereford's victory against struggling Barnet helps them leapfrog their opponents, who drop into the bottom two. Bradford have edged away from the danger zone after fighting back from a goal down to beat Northampton. Second place Fleetwood Town won against Bath to narrow the gap from 4 to 2 points at the top of the Blue Square Bet Premier. The league leaders could only draw at home with Newport. Bath City still bottom of the pile in that league. Hayes and Yeading drop into the relegation zone as Lincoln City move into 20th place. In the SPL, Motherwell's draw against Kilmarnock sees them make up a point on Rangers. They, along with Celtic, play tomorrow. No change at the bottom, where Dunfermline and Inverness held each other to a draw. Hibs win at St Mirren sees them go above Dundee United. Let's take a quick look at the headlines from the Premier League today. Marching on to the same tune, Johan Kabai's winner extends Newcastle's unbeaten start to the season and sentences Wigan to a 6th straight defeat. Dowd and out, Chris Hurd's baffling. Stefan Sessegnon and Nicholas Bentner give Sunderland only their second win in the Premier League to relieve the pressure on Steve Bruce. And Wolves finally, all the incidents, all the goals on Match of the Day tonight, 10:20 with Gary and the boys. And the Football League show follows on 11:30 on BBC One. And worth seeing Match of the Day just for the Aston Villa sending off.
Never a dull moment in the Barclays Premier League. Dowd has put McLeish under enormous pressure. You need to watch the game tonight to know what I'm talking about.
We certainly do. Garth, Martin, thanks for your company. If you want more football chat and reaction, stay with us on the Red Button or on BBC Sport website. But from here on BBC One, it's bye-bye.